I am here. Can you see me? Hello. Hi. Hi. So annoying. Hi. I am buzzing. Can you tell? Absolutely buzzing. I need to stop moving this. I'm excited. No, don't worry. I'm not high on drugs. I've just given a speech. Yeah, a speech. Me. As in, not to a screen where no one's actually watching. As in, like, an actual speech where many people were watching. At least 84 people were watching on the stream. And it was basically Leicestershire County Council representing the neurodivergent community in Leicestershire for Zero Discrimination Day, which is on the 1st of March, by the way. Yeah, it was quite short notice. I think Lindsay got notified about it a while ago and she was going to do it. And obviously with working in the school, it's harder for her to get that time. And I was like, well, I'm going to be here for the podcast anyway. Why not I just move the podcast to a little bit later and then I can do this talk. And I didn't even really think about how nervous it was going to. Oh my God, it felt 10 times worse than doing this podcast. I couldn't breathe. What is it about public speaking and anxiety where you're just like, you can't catch your breath? It's like that. It broke my brain. I didn't know how I was going to get through it. It just kept being. It's like I'd get through a sentence and then the next sentence I would have absolutely no breath for it, but also no capability of taking the breath to be able to help me on to the next sentence. It was like, why don't my lungs work right now? It really is this like physiological symptom of stress. It's impeding on efficiency. It's not a good thing to happen. Hello in the chat. How are you? Thank you for joining. I'm just going over how terrified I was during a recent talk. Literally finished at about 20 past 12, and I was worried it was going to run over so much that I wasn't here for you guys. But it ended just in time, enough for me to go and relax, cool down, because oh my God, I was 10 times more buzzing when I ended that. I was like, oh, why was I so worried about? That's the thing, right? When you get worried about something that's going to happen and it turns out that it's actually nowhere near as bad. Where are you from? I'm from Leicester in the UK. Hello, Raven Creatives. What a wicked name. That's so cool. Hello. Hello, I'm Kitty. Nice to meet you, Kitty. What a wicked name. I have a penguin. He's not a kitty, but I have a kitty as well. He's downstairs. He's currently recovering from having a fight with a tomcat outside, and he's got half of his face shaved. So he's a little bit two-faced right now. He looks like a Batman villain. But he's still cute. We'll keep him. We won't get rid of him just yet. So yeah, doing this talk, oh my word, I was terrified. Hello, hi in the chat. I'm a man and you. My name is Steph. We are a different human design, and we generally help people with neurodivergence, but we kind of just champion anyone that feels like they're a little bit different in this world. And that's basically what I had to talk about today. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining. It's how's everyone's day going? Is it just me that's buzzing today? Is this like everyone's vibe? Am I just catching a general vibe from the world? I keep doing this with my hands. What is that? What's that all about? How can I support you? I'd love to know how. If you've got any questions, by the way, please put them in the chat. I know I'm a giddy little mess right now, but I am actually a therapist. If you want any help with anything, from dating advice, I'll give my best, right up into some trauma that you might be going through. As long as you're safe sharing it, I'm more than happy to help you with it. Where did you meet me? You saying you want to meet me or you have met me? Where are you from? I'm from Leicester in the UK. Yeah, that's us. So how's your days going? Are you as buzzing as I am? Is it a strange Monday afternoon for you? What's been going on? How was the weekend? I'm trying to think. I didn't get much done over the weekend. I am so poor right now. I'm 33 this year, and I spent the weekend going to my mum's house to eat just so that I didn't die. So that was my weekend. So that was interesting. But yeah. How's everyone's day? Let's hear. Message retracted. I always want to know when I missed that too early. What was that saying? Say it again. I want to know. Don't leave me hanging. When you leave a message, it makes me think that you've written something about me. You're very beautiful. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I may be just glowing because I'm in a good mood, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Why is your name Sad Story 143? It's an interesting name. Do you have a sad story? Is it a name of a song? Oh, support you as in this is your channel. Okay, yeah, definitely. 1 second, let's have a look. Vlogs, go to channel. I'm not on the computer right now. I'm doing it through the phone, through the mobile phone, but I'm looking. Kerala Kuwait Vlogs, KKV. I like it. I like the branding. And we have, ooh, 289 views. You get it in it. Your subscriber account. Almost 5,500 subscribers. That's awesome. Go you. You don't need my support. I need your support. Let's have a look. What's being recommended to me? Snake trying to attack. That sounds like a terrifying video. Is that a vlog? That sounds terrifying. You seem to have a really large mix of all kinds of things. Everybody go look at Kerala Kuwait Vlogs. I hope I'm saying that right. So it's actually quite warm outside now. It's the first day in the UK that we've experienced any kind of blue sky. It's not warm by any means, but this room that I'm in is like an ice cube. When it's in the summer, when we get to like the middle of July, it will be a sauna in here. I'll be coming to you just dripping wet, and it will not be fun for either of us, but bear with us because we just have to wait till winter again for this room to be absolutely freezing. That's all that's going to happen. Short videos, go you. Short videos for me, I'm always worried about whether, because once, it's basically what's happened with these lives on the phone. I did it once, it got around 400 views in one showing, way more than we'd ever gotten before. Very humble, we're a tiny channel. And I was so excited, I was like, oh, all this equipment that I bought for my studio, it seems kind of irrelevant, but it's still better quality, so I didn't get rid of it. And then when I join from my computer now, I just don't get the same viewership, and it's not as large as it is. So if you can like and subscribe, I'd be more than appreciative. We are on our mission to 1,000, and we will do it authentically and organically without paying for bots. Russia top, America bullshit. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with you. Russia top, I don't know. America BS right now, doing some crazy stuff. But kind of aligning with Russia, right? And again, talking about the Russian government, not the Russian people. Peace and love to all the people in this world. They did not choose what country they were born into and what happens to them. Please something outdoor. Oh, film something outdoor. Is that what you're saying? I was considering it. We did try and do a run stream before, but it was literally like up and down doing, it just wasn't focusing very well. But we've got a few things that we are doing this year that maybe we can show. There is going to be some belly dancing going on. There is going to be some hardcore training. There is going to be getting ready for Tough Mudder. If anyone doesn't know what Tough Mudder is, we're doing the 5K one. It's 5K made up of 15, I believe, like torturous obstacle courses. And it is nice to meet you too. It is literally a killer. It's not just like climbing over stuff or like going under stuff and just physical fitness. There's parts where you get electrocuted. There are parts where you are basically drowning. It looks terrifying. Ah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love that. Thank you very much. Appreciations in the chat. I need a sound for when someone subscribes and I can like ring the alarm, like, yay, a subscriber. But not that one, obviously. That one's taken. But yeah. What was I saying? I can't remember. That's ADHD. Who has ADHD? Is anyone joining this because they're like, oh yeah, I'm neurodivergent as well? She seems absolutely crazy. I was trying to think of a better word, but we'll just stay with crazy. Ah, oh, thank you very much, Koala. We'll make it 100%. We're not going anywhere, so that's it. There's also a load of other things that we can try and film outdoors because we have the different resolution guide. And you can get one of these yourself, or you can just follow along with us online. They're, I believe, £5. You can get it from our website or Amazon. But if you want to just follow us and what we do, it basically has 12 different prompts throughout the year. There's things like a week without something, a week with something, learn something new, try something new. And last year, we did some, considering, like I said, 33 this year, I learned how to roller skate last year and fell over many times. But that's fine. That's completely fine. But the idea is that we can do these things together and you can laugh at us, I suppose. If that helps. Who knows? So yeah, I'm also trying to think of what to do with the studio. I've got a load of new pictures behind here. Have you seen my pictures? I don't know how easy it is to see them. I'm trying to look in the viewfinder. That one there, I don't know, again, if you can see it, is me talking to Max Fosh. Popular YouTuber, Max Fosh. That's just us having a chat at Edinburgh Fringe Festival, just being besties. Literally besties. It was very awkward. I could barely breathe, just like this talk that I just did, and ran away from him as quick as I could. Let's be honest. That's what was happening. Right. So I'm not going to lie. I've been so busy with the the chat today, doing this talk, that I don't necessarily have anything for you. One thing that I thought, again, if you've got questions in the chat, get them in there. I'm more than happy to help, try and help. If I don't know the answer, then I can direct you to a place where maybe there is a bit more knowledge and support for you. And I'll always be honest if I'm not able to help. The last thing I need is to harm anyone just by trying to make myself look good on the internet. That's not cool. And like I said, if you're new here, like, subscribe. But yeah, I thought a really good thing to talk about is I saw a video on YouTube recently, and it'd be way more helpful if I could do this on the computer and show you what I'm talking about. But just in case, I'll just describe it anyway. A video was made basically talking about how woke games are now. What's people's views on the term woke? Do we consider ourselves woke? Do we hate wokeness? Are we in the middle where you're like, I understand the need for it sometimes, but what's everyone's feelings on that? I always like to gauge, like, where do we sit? Because sometimes, okay, bye. Okay, bye. I'm not, for me, I don't really understand what the term woke means. So I'm always interested in seeing what people talk about, what people view wokeness as. Because when it comes to video games, there's been this discourse, right, about how there are more than one gender options in the when you're creating a character, that the storylines seem to be more looking at environmental ideology and just the ideology in general. This particular video, it made me think that this guy really doesn't understand what games are for kids, or that just some games aren't for him, because he was comparing like a 2000s Call of Duty game, which, if you've played Call of Duty, you know what that is. It's just shooting again and again. It's a very masculine driven game, as games were very much targeted for men during that time anyway, which is fine. Oh, thank you, Corolla. Yeah, some of the game, what was it comparing it to? It was comparing it to a game from 2023, 2024, that it was for children. It was like Animal Crossing, but it wasn't Animal Crossing. It was some like independent game that no one had heard of. And when you're comparing Call of Duty to this game, you're already kind of starting off on a very uncharitable basis. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that doesn't really, it's not fair. Like, you can't compare those two games anyway. And then he read the back of the box, one in a very like masculine, shooting people kind of voice, like, and then read the other one in a gamer voice, a nerdy voice, if you like, which is crazy because that person complaining is literally the nerd complaining about the games not being right for them, doing the voice, mocking someone that complains about games. It was just such a self-own. It was unbelievable, but it was interesting to see. And yeah, I'm interested in what people think. Are games becoming more woke? Because for me, wokeness doesn't really enter the chat. Games, for me, I think are being ruined by capitalism. Like everything. You know me. If you've not been here before, hello, I'm Steph, and I hate capitalism. It's just one thing about me. Get to know. As it feels like half the world does now as well. We've all just had enough with billionaires. Okay, bye. Take care, my love. Have a lovely day. What was I saying? what was I saying? I need to get better at looking at the chat and then remember what I was saying, because it is becoming a problem. It is becoming difficult. How do you do that? How do you get your attention from the chat to talking, to chat to talking, and remember what I was talking about? It seems impossible. I don't know how to master it. I suppose it's something that you do with time, right? It's just a time thing. If I put this over, does it increase the viewers? Does it look more official? It's not plugged into the phone, but what about ASMR? I remember when we started this channel, I was joking with Lindsay that we could do an ASMR segment. And do you know what? Since then, I feel like no one's really talked about ASMR. Do people still like ASMR? Are people still into it? What are some good ASMR channels? Are they still about? Are they still about? Are they something that you have to go back to some ancient channel, to an old video to really get that good ASMR content? Or are people still creating this? I need to know. I need to know. I find it fascinating. I know I get a little bit of a feeling in my neck when certain sounds create that, like, I don't know, that sensory feeling. But is that just autism? Is that me just a sensation that I enjoy? Is ASMR a form of stimming? I've just thought now. It's not a very intelligent thought, but it's a thought. We're having it. We're having it. I can hear my cats downstairs just tearing the absolute place up. Cats, man, I don't know what. Can't live with them, can't live without them. And quite frankly, I'm starting to think that maybe I can live without them. Literally, it feels like living in the house with two asbos, just two chavs that like complain about everything, that destroy stuff when they what am I going on about? I'm just complaining about my cats. It makes me laugh when I'm like, come to me, come get some help. Like, put your questions in the chat, let's help you people. And then I start talking and rambling about stuff like this. It's like, I don't think this lady can help me. I don't think this lady can help me at all. She was rambling about capitalism and cats, and she joined the chat very excitedly after doing a chat. I keep calling it that. It's because I'm looking at the chat. The brain. If it could just work correctly once every so often. I must admit, from being on medication now, ADHD medication has really helped me. I cannot complain about that at all. But it still doesn't, it doesn't make it perfect. There's still so many things that it's just the human brain is flawed so much. Like, what is like the working memory? Why is that so flawed? Why does that not work well? Like, it's not just people with ADHD. It is a baffling phenomenon. The short-term memory and your long-term memory, and how that processes. Like, it's nuts that I can remember the strongest of the most minute details from something that was 20, 30 years ago. But I can't remember what I was just talking about. What's that? What is that? How is that an evolutionary advantage? How did we become the top of the food chain with that going on? Is that something we've developed as the humankind, as the human race has moved on? Who knows? Who knows? But I need some help with this studio. What do I do with it? What do I need to add in the background? That's what I need help with. I am on a budget, bear in mind. I keep seeing that everyone has these like bright LED lights. And while I like them, I just feel like everyone's got them. It's kind of like the wooden slat background that Joe Rogan had. It felt like quite a lot of people started getting that. And then the Fresh and Fit podcast, where like a bunch of women sit round a table with two dudes berating them. Um, this kind of setup where you sit round a table became really popular. Obviously, we don't have loads of people. We have the option. There is a sofa there. Um, and we haven't done a podcast with Lindsay here yet. It could be quite interesting. Um, but I need two cameras. I need two cameras and I need a better background. The other option is green screen. Do we have a constant moving background with green screen? Do we have a shot of, I don't know, Leicestershire from a landscape kind of shot? Could it be live? I don't know. There's loads of possibilities, and I'm just trying to work out what's best. There's so many different things, and not all of it's conducive. Not all of it you can see behind each other. Some things I don't even know if they're allowed to be on screen. Like there's boobies back there. I don't know if I've just outed myself and YouTube are gonna have a go at me now. But there are. This in particular is one thing that I wish stood out more. This is a different guide for ADHD. There's 3 different ones of these. There's the basic 5 senses and there is anxiety. These are available on our website and they were created by the very talented Lindsay, the founder of A Different Human Design. Before I joined her, she was well away creating these, and they are fantastic for the neurodivergent brain. So they're kind of designed like a comic book. They are jam-packed full of information. Literally every single page has either something that you can learn or the ability to reflect. There are exercises that you can engage with. There are notes pages so that you can jot down your own personal thoughts and emotions as you go through it. There are different areas that you can fill out to explore your own identity, your own emotions. There is real world applicable advice in there. It really does a great job of bridging the gap between just in the lack of care that we see, unfortunately, in the NHS currently. And from hearing what it's like in America right now, the healthcare system is in firing line and not so great as it is. From what I heard, the veterans' healthcare system is fantastic and actually runs very well. So if that could be extended to the rest of America, that would be great. Is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for your diagnosis that seems to be taking several years, while you're waiting for treatment that seems to be taking even longer, there is something that you can do, and we don't wait for you to have a diagnosis to be able to help you. That is the point of psychotherapy. We treat the symptoms, we don't diagnose. I'm not a psychiatrist or a doctor. But these guides are fantastic and they're great for all ages. Literally, if you are a young person that you struggle to read, if you are non-verbal, maybe you can get some help going through these. They're a great tool to work through together as parent or carer to someone with neurodivergence. Also a partner. This is really fun to go through with your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend. The amount of times that we've been at stalls and people come and pick them up and they just literally like gasp thinking, oh my God, is that me? Because the information that you receive through the NHS and on various websites that you're often guided to, the information can be a little bit brief. Whereas these go into such great detail about ADHD. I feel like a really good way of looking into this is showing you what you can get in these books. So this one has a total of 20 pages. It's already jam-packed, literally. All of these pages are full. There is one notes page, like free for you to make notes on line paper. But we've got the brief history of ADHD, the current diagnosis, like the statistics that you have to hit, the requirements to be diagnosed, how ADHD is today. We have the fuller picture. And we also have pages like change the perspective. Girls get ADHD too. There's also pages that help you with the emotions around ADHD. So let's look at one of these. Which one should we go to? Should we just go to current diagnosis? So if you go onto the NHS website, you'll notice that there's about 3 or 4 bullet points for hyperactivity and around 3 or 4 more for inattentiveness. ADD now currently being seen as more of the attentive side of ADHD, not really referenced as commonly. So what does it say here? ADHD is recognised by a list of negative symptoms. That's a good thing to point out. This is a deficit-based model of ADHD. The way we currently view ADHD is that it's at a disadvantage to people. And while it most certainly is disabling in many ways, it doesn't fully encapsulate what the condition is. I'm not missing something. I'm struggling with what I have. Symptoms associated with ADHD in adults: carelessness and lack of attention to detail, continually starting new tasks before finishing old ones, poor organisation skills, inability to focus or prioritise, restlessness and edginess. I know for me, when people say, oh, you're of the inattentive kind, so you don't show much of the hyperactivity. When you joined this stream, you'd have seen I was buzzing. I was off my rocker with excitement, and that was just my natural emotions, my hyperactivity, because something had gone well. I've started to calm down now. But the way that a hyperactivity mostly manifests in me is in a negative sense. And it's that it manifests in this way of frustration, of overwhelmness, of like just frustrated with anything that's too close to me or going on. It's this inability to be comfortable, to self-soothe, to be able to relax. And it's really like, it disrupts mood, it disrupts appetite. It's not a good part of hyperactivity. People seem to think it's just bouncing off the walls. I wish it was. I wish it was. Forgetfulness, that's one that's often included. But again, forgetfulness. How many people forget things on a day-to-day basis and don't think anything really further of it? They think, well, everyone forgets things. And that's true. When it comes to ADHD symptoms, none of the things that you experience necessarily don't happen to people without ADHD. These are very common symptoms that people experience throughout life. The difference with ADHD is how the brain processes these actions, processes these behaviors, processes these thoughts. You have a different neurotype, meaning that your brain is a different structure. You have So many more. And I mean, I don't want to do the statistic disjustice, but there is an overwhelmingly amount of more brain synapses, like as in neuropathways, for information to travel around the brain. Um, it's very hard for the ADHD brain to focus, to pay attention. Um, and again, these symptoms can be experienced by people that don't have ADHD. The difference is how often are you experiencing it and how severely. You have to look at these factors as well. So it's all right looking at symptoms, but it's also understanding how those symptoms play out in real life. It's okay saying I'm forgetfulness. I'm forgetfulness. That's not okay to say. That doesn't make any sense. It's okay to say I am forgetful. And it's okay to assume that that's a normal part of life. We've all experienced walking into a room, immediately forgetting why you walked in there and having to go back out again. And people say, go back to the place where you had the thought. It's like, I don't remember where that was either now. I've forgotten that. It doesn't make any sense. It's a tragic life, the ADHD life. But we live it. And we continue to try and support anyone that reaches out for help. As well as ADHD, we realize that this disorder doesn't play out exactly the same in everyone. Same as autism, same as most conditions. It's not a one size fits all. So it's important for us to recognize what the nuances are, how these symptoms play out in each person's life and what else they're interacting with. Is there a different attachment style at play that is making someone act in a certain way that and someone else with ADHD wouldn't necessarily? It's past experiences. Have you had your ADHD made a thing of? Have you been made to feel like you're less than? Then there's a good chance you have troubles with your self-esteem. If your neurodivergence was always celebrated and your parents from a very young age celebrated how gifted and wonderful you are, they acknowledged and accepted, welcomed how different you are, then you will most probably have no problems with self-esteem. And that's wonderful. Unfortunately, many of us grew up in households where our parents didn't have this information that so many of us readily have at our fingertips now. They did the best they can, but unfortunately, due to whatever circumstances, many of our parents failed to meet our needs in the way that we needed them to be met. What might have worked with our neurotypical brothers and sisters, or what might have worked with our neurodiverse brothers and sisters, having different types of neurodivergence. Not everything works for everyone. So if parents seem to think that what they're doing is the right way and you're just not responding correctly, and then it's just a case of disciplining, well, the child needs more discipline, then those needs are further from being met. And again, I don't think the majority of our parents did this purposefully. I know for me, it took a long time to forgive my parents for the things that they'd done. And there was no abuse, there was no harm really, in terms of directly at me. The way that my parents divorced and would argue with each other and then go about living their separate lives as single people with less money, having to work more. It's hard for people in those situations, and then on top of that, you've got a child that you're sharing with someone that you no longer want to spend any time with. Communication is difficult, especially if that was the reason that you divorced in the first place, and it just becomes a nightmare for the child in the middle. I know a lot of people say divorce hurts children, and there's plenty of studies that happily go against that and prove that divorce is not what harms children. It's the way divorce is handled by the parents. There was a Netflix documentary, The Murder of Gabby Petito. Did anyone watch that? It was incredible. Really heartbreaking to watch. Really like that family of his. I won't spoil any of it. If anyone's not watched it, then I don't need to give any spoilers. But his family, the way they just weren't saying anything. Oh, bear with me. Why the light fell over? Well, I'm going to be honest, it didn't fall over. I kicked it over by accident. I'm being honest with you. What was I saying? For God's sake. It's going to be a great day when I remember exactly what I was talking about. You better fear that day, because it's the day I rule the world. None of you are safe. What do I even mean? Like and subscribe, guys. I will be here on Wednesday for a much more put together episode. This one, I just had no time to plan for it. I was so busy making this speech, which was very well received, by the way. I don't know what I was worried about. I'll start back there. I'll go back to what I was talking about. Doing a talk in person, not in person, over through Microsoft Teams. Oh my God, terrifying. I don't know why I agreed to it in the first place, but I could not breathe. My breath at the start, I was like, yeah, I don't need to explain it exactly again. If you watch the start of the stream, I explained that. But I didn't explain that as I started to read my speech and get a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable with what I was saying, my breathing did start to relax. I addressed to the room that I was anxious, and I was like, bear with me, I'm struggling to like breathe with these sentences. Public speaking is not my forte. And everyone was very well receptive and understanding that if you can share with the room, look, this is bothering me right now, it's often a really quick way of calming your own nerves, because you're almost practicing in real time, sharing vulnerabilities with people and witnessing how that is well received. If you're in a meeting at work and you hate sharing things because you hate people being able to see you. ADHD is very much wanting to be understood and not be seen. Does that make sense? So something like a meeting, it can be very triggering. It throws you off. So being able to address to the room, okay, I don't feel, or I feel like my anxiety is kicking in right now. Please bear with me while I go through this presentation or this talk, and watch your nerves just seem to subside, just relax. Your emotions just level off. It really is amazing. And what went from me being in my own head about talking was then very well received. I got some nice applause. Everybody clapped, as they say. And it really was a learning moment that I don't know what I was scared of. I know what I was scared of. And I will be scared of it again the next time I have to do it, I'm sure. But that little bit less, because I learned in this moment, I was able to expand my comfort zone, as it were, just momentarily. We understand that this is our comfort zone. And when we venture out of it, eventually we become comfortable outside of it just a little bit. And our comfort zone then grows. And it's about then pushing yourself out further. Does that make sense? Of course it makes sense. It's a really simple term, Tom. Like, I'm sorry for treating you that way. I really am. You're smarter than that. And here's me just explaining the most simplest terms like you don't understand. How insulting, really. Do you know what's crazy as well? After doing this talk, doing this stream, we've still got another live stream today, 7 p.m. for members only. If you're a member, Patreon member, then I strongly recommend that you join us tonight at 7 p.m. We are crossing over U Club, which was our in-person community all through last year, where people had come. It's basically an adult youth club for neurodivergent individuals, 18 plus. And week after week, monthly, we would just have fun. We'd do something arty, we'd do something spiritual, we'd do something, basically everyone sharing their own special interest with the group, whatever that would be. Some people were able to just like parallel play off to the side. They're just knowing that they were in company of other people that were just relaxing and weren't going to bother them. It was a really good environment. As well as that, we've got our online crew, our ones that join us 7 till 8 on Thursdays, has now changed to this the first Thursday of each month. So the third Thursday of each month becomes our members only stream to say thank you to everyone that supported us last year. And tonight is the rescheduling of last Thursdays. If you missed it, I scheduled it. It was about to happen, and I got just the worst headache. It continued to get worse, and I was like, this just isn't going to be doable. So I messaged Lindsay. Thankfully, she was very understanding. And also, we miss Lindsay, right? I feel like my mug is here all the time. We need more Lindsay. If you are missing Lindsay, there is a Different Human Design YouTube page as well. Lindsay at Different Human Design. If you just Google that, you'll find her and all her bus updates. Not only has she converted a double-decker into her current home, she's further renovating it still to be a travelling book bus, like a library, where people can come and exchange books or maybe pick one up for a small donation. It's going to be a really good community hub that will travel around the UK, maybe even further. So she has been decorating, renovating, really transforming an old police bus, metropolitan police bus. And it's really fun seeing the transformation, and more recently is enjoying the not so freezing weather as she recovers from foot surgery. So we're going to go and join her tonight, because I know you guys have missed her, and we're going to paint some pots. We're going to talk rejection sensitive dysphoria, because that's what Mark requested, and we love Mark. Mark is our resident American, our Flint, Michigan homie, and yeah, we look forward to tonight's stream, which I will not be on my own for. I do have preparations for. It will be a much better episode than whatever this is, whatever this has been, you know. But I appreciate anyone that's joined and stayed. That's very kind of you. Before I just continue to ramble on again, you know how it gets. I'll start leading to something, and it'll turn into capitalism, and I'll be here for hours, just wasting your time, really. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bid you all a farewell. Come and join us tonight, 7 to 8 p.m, but you have to be a Patreon member. Access it through Patreon. It's literally a members only stream, and it's for as little as £1 you can be a member. Come see Lindsay. Thank you very much for having me. It was fun doing the talk. It was fun coming to chat with you after. Yeah, we've had fun, right? It's been a weird one. It's been a crazy one, but I'm still in a good mood, and I hope you are too. Have a lovely day, and I will see you later. Go and get your Patreon membership if you haven't already. Good night, guys. Good night. Good day. Good afternoon. It's raining. After all that, no more blue skies. It's raining.